Welcome back to the Revenue Clinic podcast. I am Tristen Sutton, your weekly host, as well as your marketing strategist. You know, the purpose of this show we bring to you every week is to help entrepreneurs cure their revenue ailments. But what we do is we bring on experts, people that are top of their game, and just have them share their knowledge and experience with you so you can overcome those obstacles to take your business to the next level. This is what we're all about, right? Leveling up. So this week, we have a good friend, special guest, Miss Kyra Renel Hardwick, Dr. Hardwick, MBA, business developer, all of the above. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm super excited.
You super excited? I can feel it. I can hear it.
I really am. I really am.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Detroit native.
I am. I'm a Detroit native. I'm a business developer, but I have over 15 years now. I'm going to leave it at that because if I keep adding years to it every time, that might not work out. But over 15 years of operational experience. Okay. So I've worked in big industry, and I've been in entrepreneurship for a little over 11 years. I have a nonprofit that I've been running for 11 years. So Imagine Excellence. That's my humanitarian heart work that we do in schools.
Kind piece.
Yes, I think every business should have that. But we've also been running the Kyra Company. We're now in
the world famous Kyra Company.
We are now in our 4th year of operation.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm super excited. We survived a massive, devastating hurricane.
Yes. Negative 30 degrees in Chicago right now.
Yes. So there are all kinds of things that we've been impacted by in terms of our growth. But I think what's amazing is really just that we've been able to start strong and maintain really good practices. And that's really been our sustaining force. I know you didn't ask me that, but I think that's really important for the 4th year.
But that's really what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
Our systems and processes to get you to that 4th year and beyond and things like that. So tell us what's your background? Because I know, but tell them how you bringing in that corporate knowledge and experience to small businesses.
Absolutely. Well, definitely have spent some time in education. So I have an MBA. My concentration is organizational development. So human resources, but organizational development. Okay. And so I'm all about the gears mechanics of what makes an organization go. Okay. I've spent several years in General Motors, which is industrial, but I was on the sexy side, which is design. And
is that the sexy side?
It is. Oh my goodness. It is trinkets and tricks and it's like, ooh, feel the grooves in this steering wheel and let's save $18 million. Let's figure that out. I'm like, I want that project. And I've also spent a lot of time on the softer side, which is healthcare. Okay. So I have a dynamic background in healthcare in Blue Cross Blue Shield. Really? And so what that does for me is it gives me a very metrics, because at GM you're really looking at the numbers, the productivity, the product that's moved. I'm on the design side, so it's a product before it's a car. Gotcha. So it's a program. That program is moving down this track, and you need to make sure that it's hitting its intervals financially and design wise. So you're monitoring the business of that particular.
A lot of variables.
A lot of people. On the other side of that thing with Blue Cross, you're really looking at people on both sides. So we're talking to people that have healthcare, people that are servicing the healthcare members. Okay. So you've got customer service on 10, and you really need to have an understanding on what it takes to be a leader that can manage both metrics to get the quality for the customer, and then the temperament of an employee or a team, because you really want to galvanize them around delivering in excellence. And so both of those companies to me represent major levels of excellence in their own space. Gotcha. But bringing those two worlds together, you kind of bring my industrial, my lean, I don't have a Six Sigma. Okay. Yeah, I didn't go get all my belts, but I definitely have some certifications. Okay. That can be recognized from a lean manufacturing standpoint. But you bring all that together with a concern and a heart for people that you need to be engaged to meet metrics, to make numbers, to generate revenue. Yeah. That's the sauce.
I was going to say, bring it home to me.
That is the sauce.
Make it small business.
You know what it is. It's people, process, profitability.
All right.
You get the people to do the work, follow great processes, generate the revenue.
Somebody typed in people, process, and profitability. Okay.
The 3 P's.
So let's start with the first P. How do you recommend small businesses that are already established or getting started? What does that people piece look like for them?
Man, okay, so first of all, we'll deal with you. Okay. Because as the leader of this organization, you're trying to figure it all out. So we'll just kind of preface this from the kind of the position of a startup, a one-person startup.
Okay. Well, like most of people watching.
Our one year, the employee business of one, right? So here's the first question that we have to answer is, are you ready? We know how to do a lot of stuff, but are you really ready to deliver? And are you prepared mentally for what that's going to require of you? You know, and Tristen, I'm no stranger to asking the hard questions. Are you ready for people to really call on you and identify you as being an expert or a thought leader in a space? You need to answer those questions. Those are kind of those significant questions. And that's going to really make sense as we move forward, that you have to answer in order to identify whether or not you're really hitting the mark as an individual in business. You know, I always say, make sure your heart is in it. And that means make sure you're in it. Don't just do it because it can make cash fast.
Because it takes a lot out of you.
Oh my gosh, the sacrifice. So, you know, I wear many hats outside of business, right? So all of the people that I love find themselves in a space of, I find myself in a space of sacrifice with them. And so you have to determine at what level are you willing to sacrifice, and to what extent, how long are you willing to take that on, and understand that that is what it takes.
Let's talk about that. Let's stick on that subject. We got to flow, but she hit a good point real quick. We're talking about people and then sacrificing. What most entrepreneurs don't really understand is to get started or take it to the next level, the sacrifices involved being a business owner. You want to hit on that point real quick?
Ooh. Yes.
You brought it up.
I will. I definitely will. So just to give context to it. So wife, mom, right? Sister, friend, all those wonderful things. When you're getting started, and I was that one, you remember the commercial where the guys, it looks like he has this real scenic background and he's in his garage. Really, when his wife comes home, the garage goes up and his office goes away, his scenery goes away. So that was me sitting in my living room with this huge desk, and I'd just be sitting there working. Nobody could understand what I was doing. It's like steam was coming from my computer. What are you doing? And why are you still there? It's midnight. Can you go to bed? So you have the time sacrifice, right? And so you got kids. I've got kids that are in school. I've got, kids that need things, that are growing, that are into programs and projects and things like that. You have to stop what you're doing in your build-up mode and you're in discovery mode. A lot of us fail to admit that we're really discovering as we go.
Absolutely.
So some of you all have been guinea pigs for people that have. Why are you laughing, Tristen?
Shout out to the guinea pigs. I think I was one, and I've had several, and it works out great.
It works out great. And here's the benefit: you get a discounted rate, so don't worry about it. So we've had to figure it out as we've gone, and so sometimes you're in major think tank space by yourself.
Yes.
And so when you're thinking about that time sacrifice and your family is there, for me, I was started in my home. So we got dinner going, kids moving around, and I'd be hollering up, I'm live, I'm on a call, or I'm doing a video. And they would just mock me. They'd say, oh, mom, you're live. Mom's live, and it was a thing. So now we've gotten a little better. We've got an office. We can control the environment. But time, the people piece was super sacrificial.
Because people don't really understand that you're always evolving, you're always creating, you always have energy going. And so, but you also have to have real life situations, be in the moment and cater to those people. So it's kind of a balancing act. You have to also make sure that the people in your life understand where you're going. And then you have to be understanding if you're on the other side of the table.
That's true. Good point. So let me tell you what my trick is.
Okay.
I'm all about the whiteboard, right? And you know this. So I always keep a big easel with a huge Post-it pad on there. And I write strategy up, or I'll write activity or tasks on there. That keeps it forward in front of their mind that mom's working on something. She's focused on something. Sometimes I just write love notes to them on it. But I do that because I want them to be a part of it. And I remember first year one, I would come home every time. I got a new client. And it would seem like it started happening every day. And I was like, I'll probably stop saying this. Like, what's going on? I got a new client. And I remember that feeling. And they were able to be a part of it. So then they were like, well, who's your client? I might go on social media and say, oh, look, there's our new client. So it became something that we could celebrate together. Got them involved.
So keep your family and friends involved in your business as you grow and as you develop, because that's how they can stay engaged and be more understanding of your situation.
Absolutely.
Okay. So back to the business people. So where are you going with that one?
So on the business side, so for you, first of all, the family balance piece, whether it's family or friends, whatever it is, that balance is still required. It's an invisible line. It really doesn't exist. However, you have to establish boundaries. But you personally need to be ready to lead. If you say you can do a thing, I want you to dial it back and be committed to yourself, to commit to be committed to it, right? Do you get it? Commit to be committed. Because sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes you hit a brick wall. But if you've done enough in the area of strategy and thought, you can actually build the program or process around it. And that's the trick. So sometimes when we hit a brick wall, and I know we've had a lot of conversations just around how do we launch into certain industry? How do we have certain, how do we have certain conversations with certain types of people? You may not know. That may be your first client like this. And so you still need to be committed to figuring it out. So that same luster you had when you were like, I'm starting a business and you went and got your paperwork, you need to maintain that same luster.
Keep that same energy.
Zeal. Yeah, that same energy is all the way through. So I'm saying that keep your commitment, keep the energy level high, because it will change only by way of growth. So whatever you're growing into, you'll start to feel the impact of it, but you've got to be ready and be agile as a leader. You can only answer that question of yourself. Because if you know that you're not the one to be agile, you don't like change, you don't like to adjust, you don't like to hear customer complaints.
There's never any change in entrepreneurship.
Oh my God.
It always stays stagnant.
It just changed 5 seconds ago. Just changed.
Excellent. Okay, so we got the people. What's the next piece?
Yeah, process.
Oh, that's what we hear about.
Process.
What are the top 3 processes small businesses should have?
Yeah. Okay. Well, first, let me just say this.
Okay.
I'm a strategist. And so I spend a lot of time helping clients develop a strategy first.
Okay.
The strategic angle that you enter into your business will be that guiding force. So that is your plan. That is your tool. Project out as far as you can and understand that that's how you're going to actually develop. Okay. So you write the plan.
Write the plan.
Somebody
write that in, write the plan.
Write the plan. Align your timeline against the plan. Give yourself the obligation of the commitment. When do I need to have this done? When do I need to contact so-and-so on this task? Obligate the time, right? There we go.
Obligate the commitment.
Obligate the commitment. Yes, seriously. You need to give it an obligation, because if you don't, it's a list.
Yeah.
It's a list. And then, so that's a part of the strategy. But when you're doing that, well, and especially for the clients that I work with, when we're doing that, we are really associating it directly to the why behind the business. Right?
Okay.
So that was loaded.
Break that down.
So
the why behind the business.
In order, you went in, okay, so go back to you. So you, the person, went into I went into business.
Okay.
All right. I went into business because I identified, or so actually a friend helped me identify that I had a skill set that was monetizable, that people could use.
Okay.
Because they had an experience with me. Okay. That said I could do it.
Yeah.
And so once that was established, I then had to identify whether or not, number one, do I really want to do that? Do I love it enough to put energy behind it?
Do you have to love it to do it?
As an entrepreneur, you better have some level of love, because I'm about to tap into another vein, and that is for another day. But here's the deal. I'm not saying you got to be all in love, but you better love it enough, because it's going to kick your butt.
Can you be infatuated?
No.
You got to go steady with it.
This is not a one night stand. This is longevity, relationally based, focused. If you want to pop a tent and move on, so be it. But you're really pop a tent. That's what I say. We can pop a tent. You are so any Midwesterners stand up. So popping a tent, that's called a business with no strategy, no focus. Just I can make money.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm on the corner. It's Valentine's Day. I'm selling roses from a bucket. Popping a tent.
So just a quick hustle.
Yes, that's not what we're doing here.
Gotcha.
Not the real entrepreneurs.
Gotcha.
So that's what I mean by pop a tent.
Okay.
And you can define by Kyra. But you've got to be in love with it.
Yeah.
You've got to be in love with it enough, because it's going to challenge you in ways you've never been challenged before.
Absolutely.
Entrepreneurship is really one of the hardest veins that people can go down. And you don't realize that probably until you're too deep into it. You're like, what happened? Hello, somebody. So you've got to be committed. So that's why the business of you is first. And then you move into a process. So process A, which we listed, which was all about getting a plan together and obligating the plan with a commitment, meaning a timeline, dates, money.
Talk about them coins.
Yes. If you do not align your tasks with resources, time and money, forget it. Those are the two things. Time and money have to be associated with the task. The reason why, if you're doing it, you need to know what you're worth per hour. That's number one. And that helps you identify value and all those other good things. And we'll get into that. Okay. We probably won't get into that here, but just understand it's a necessity. But if you can obligate time as well, that'll help you create the equation. So how much is your time worth?
Okay.
How long are you spending?
How do you determine how much is your time worth?
Well, you can look on a couple of websites. There's Glassdoor. You can go on Indeed, look up salary searches, and just look up basic salaries for executives in your role. Okay, in your lane. In your lane. So I'm a strategic developer, business developer, so I can go look and see what does someone at McKinsey make that's in my role.
Shout out to McKinsey.
Yes, because that's where I'm going. So I want to know what, when I think about who and what the value is for what I do. So I want to identify what that is. And then when I identify my price per hour, then I can do the math and multiply how many hours I'm working. Gotcha. And so that's how you start establishing financial, bottom lines for your business. Even.
I want you to see that even with coming up with her pricing, she still had a process. Gotta have a process.
You have to have a process. And this don't let the math scare you for those of you that prefer language arts over. Don't let the math scare you. It really is. How much are you worth per hour? If you're worth $150 per hour, how many hours did you spend on it? 2, that's $300. You just made $300. It's invisible money, entrepreneur. It's invisible.
Is it monopoly money?
Yeah, but you need to put it on the line because you need to understand, what you need to assess in terms of your rate once you start paying yourself out. And I'm hoping that's within the first, 90 days.
Gotcha. So we got people, we got processes. Now let's talk about the magic one. Profit.
Yeah. So you can't have a great profitability or bottom line. You can't have that gross revenue generation until you've got good people working good processes, because that's what generates your money. So when we think about this whole system, and I use this, you can go on the website and really drill down into people, process, and profitability. I want you to understand that it takes your clients or your customers understanding how to do business with you. And those that are serving them, whether it's you as the solopreneur or your team, you need to understand the processes associated with client services. That's the process.
Break that down.
So client services, how does a client come in the door and how do they leave? How do I sell them? How do I, get their referral? How do I upsell them? How do I nurture them? All of those things, right? And some of that is done through an automation tool like
Dubsado.
You got it.
Go ahead and tell them some of your favorite ones.
Right. So Dubsado we use in our business. Okay. And I will tell you this is a confession of the Kyra company. And so when we talk about delegating tasks and getting things done,
because you got to delegate to elevate.
You got to delegate to elevate. And I'm going to give you one more thing that you definitely should consider as well, which is allocation of tasks. So we'll get to that. But let's talk about Dubsado. So Dubsado, we purchased Dubsado like a year ago. Okay.
Now tell them what
Dubsado is a CRM.
Okay.
So it can be used to manage client relationships. It can be used to manage client contacts, the position the client is in the sale, sending out automated communications to the clients along the selling process, following up. It's emails. It's the invoicing system. It's an all-in-one client management system is what that is for us. Okay. So Dubsado also, from an internal standpoint, is a way for us to manage jobs, tasks, and so forth. So when I got Dubsado, I was like, we are going to win with this thing. Like, this is the game changer. We are leaving Google Docs. We're not keeping this list anymore, this spreadsheet. We are going into a system.
Yes.
So I got it, and it sat there. It's exciting to watch your money sit there and not do anything.
Exactly.
And every staff meeting, I was like, we have to use Dubsado. We have to use Dubsado. And I think in the back of their mind, their little thought bubbles were popping up. When you do, we will.
Exactly.
And so we finally push. And last year it made it to like, it's a do or die. And we've got to move to Dubsado.
Yes.
So my administrator, which was the first hire in my business, it was not a salesperson. It was not a graphic designer. It was not a Fiverr representative.
Talk about that.
The admin.
The
admin is called your load lifter. Your admin moves the weight. Y'all understand what that is? For those of you that
break it down for me. You talk to high-level sick
people. Are you sure?
Sometimes.
So y'all know what moving the weight. Y'all watch enough shows to know what moving the weight is. That's the one. Yeah. So the load lifter. So that's the person that's taking those tasks off of you that you brought on, basically that were essential as a startup of one. Because I was a startup of one. I had a long list of things that I had to do every day. But what happened was, as I started to grow, I couldn't contact my clients. I couldn't make appointments. I couldn't do those things in a timely manner. So the system that I had started to swell and break. And that's when I realized it was time for help.
Gotcha.
So in corporate, that's workload distribution.
Or you had to get another vessel to pour into. Boom.
So boom, that's like the benefit.
Yeah.
Right? That's good. Yeah. So when you think about hiring an administrator, who is the first person you need to hire in your business? I'm going to tell you hands down, it's an administrator.
We got that's a good great segue into a question from Ms. Barbara Polk.
Okay.
How can you delegate when you are a solo entrepreneur? Maybe they don't have the coins to get that.
I didn't either, Barbara. I didn't either. I was like, oh God. I just said yes to this young lady. Which of my clients is going to pay her? So let me tell you what I did. This was my strategy, because I had my clients aligned on a monthly invoicing system, right? That's my process, so that I can have clarity of thought around the money and how it's coming in. That's it. Find an invoice that's going to pay your admin.
Yes.
And that means you can't overprice your role. So you need to know what your boundaries are.
So one of your friends in the coaching industry said, if you need money, just go sell something. Create something and sell it. So find something to sell to take care of that expense.
You got it. And for me, it was the business that I already had coming in. So then I just looked at my expenses or the way I was using my money to say, how can I reallocate it? Right. So I literally brought on a client, and that money, when it came in, it went to the account labeled payroll. That's a whole nother system.
It's got a whole nother account.
And
we're not commingling funds.
No. You want to?
We're not going to do that.
You need. Okay, so listen, I beggeth of you. Here's my thing, guys. You want to keep peace. That mental chatter, when it comes to money, will wreck your business. And so one of our mutual friends, TL James, is huge on Profit First.
Absolutely.
And I'd heard the Profit First, process before. And I think it is so important to break your money out.
Yes.
You have to create listen, it sounds overwhelming. It may, you guys, but you have to do it over time. You got to figure out what's going to keep your stress level down so you can stay creative as a leader and an entrepreneur.
Yes.
When you're thinking about money, tasks, time, you got people calling you that you can't call back. Something's broken.
Yeah.
Your system's broken. So that administrator will help fix that.
So that admin will help tie the systems and the process together.
Yes, because you'll have to adjust for it, right? Because now, guess what? You've got all this stuff in your head,
right,
or in your notebook or on your computer that only you know. And you want someone else to help you.
Absolutely.
And the trick is to not get frustrated as you try to get it out of your head and get it to the other person. And I've run into so many leaders. I don't care what level. They're like, but my admin's not doing what I need them to do. But my assistant's not helping me. Yeah. And the first question I ask, how did you train them?
Exactly.
And that's when the pin drops and they're like, oh, well, I just told them to do these 7 tasks. Well, then did you train them on it? Did you give them your way? We internally, we call it TKC care. And Kayla will say that. She's like, oh, Kyra, I want to make sure I give this TKC care. So what does that look like?
Okay.
The Kyra company.
You break that down. What is
so
TKC
that
care?
Means how does the Kyra company, this is good. Like, this is a whole day's workshop right this moment. So I don't know. You got to listen to this a couple of times because I'm dropping a lot of information.
I see.
So TKC care is all predicated or based on the culture of our organization.
Okay.
I'm a high energy, high function,
we see
accelerated.
Can y'all tell?
And I'm not drinking coffee. Accelerated leader. So I'm all about accelerated results. So in that space, whoever works with me has to understand that and be able to adapt. And so as she's adapted to it, we've created kind of this standard of operation. So our clients get a certain kind of phone call. They get a certain kind of email. We have a system, remember? They get a certain kind of follow-up, right? Their invoice looks a certain way. And or our events look or feel a certain way. We use the same event setup every time.
Gotcha.
You know, so she'll say, okay, Kyra, we want to handle this, but I need to apply TKC care. So tell me about this client a little bit more, or tell me about this venue we're going to. I need to go look at it so I'll understand how to set it up. So those are the types of things.
So would you say you have a McDonald's mentality? And what I mean by that is McDonald's has systems and processes in place. No matter what location you go to, if you order a Big Mac, it's going to be the same 2 all beef patties, sesame seed buns, special sauce, 2 pickles, and lettuce and tomato.
Did you forget something?
I may have forgot something. I don't eat there that often. But regardless of the ingredients, every McDonald's has a system and process in place. So they can just plug someone to that system and duplicate the results. So in your business, I recommend you have a McDonald's mentality. So like she said, have your system step by step down. So when an employee comes in, you can hand them a document that says, hey, this is how this works. This is how this should be handled. This is how TKC care looks like. So you can duplicate it. So now if that employee leaves for whatever reason, they're on to yours. Now you can plug someone back in, duplicate the process so they can duplicate your systems and you can duplicate your revenue. Bam, I just need to put the mic on that.
High five. That's it all day long. And let me tell you, can I drop an exclusive?
Go for it. Is it on thekyracompany.com?
No.
Okay.
It hasn't even been released.
Well, we got breaking news right here. Come on, CNN.
So what I want to share is this. Part of establishing a strong organization, year 3 was break everything year for us. Break the process, break the system, break our revenue goals, break everything.
Gotcha.
And that's what we did. Why? Because as a strategist and a business leader, I know that I want to replicate the organization. So in our 5 to 7 year plan, it looks like moving into more of a franchisable model.
Interesting.
Aha.
So we're going to have the Kyra franchises?
So the plan is to create something unique that would allow people to be able to plug into it. I'm one person.
Right.
I can't do all of this. There are so many businesses that need what we do.
Absolutely.
So why wouldn't we do that? Well, to aid in that, we definitely partner with a franchising organization. So I actually represent the Gulf Coast for FranCorp. Did you know that?
I was not aware. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. So I do, but what that made me really start to realize is that we need to be process or franchise ready, as I say. And what you just described, McDonald's mentality is that.
Wow. So if I catch the breaking news, because she talks high energy, you're franchising your business development company.
The Kyra company.
Yes. So there's going to be other little Kyras or Keontaes around there.
No, they'll be Kyras.
There's only females? That's not fair.
No, well, the Kyra company, I don't care who works at the Kyra company, male, female, whatever you identify with. But my point is, I want the Kyra company name to have its own identity.
Wow. So that should give you all some hope out there. We're only, year 4?
Year 4.
Year 4 and already talking about franchising her business. And she started at the kitchen table.
Yes.
With the kids yelling in the you're
live.
So now you're the representative of Gulf Coast Franchising?
FranCorp. The Gulf Coast, the
region.
Houston market. Yeah, so it's the Gulf Coast region.
It can be done.
Yeah.
So that is why we have this show, to show you that and to give you the hope and the process and the journey, how to get to that next level in your business and level up. So, wow, congratulations on
Thank you.
Everybody give her a round of applause. Say congratulations in the comments.
Thanks. That's a big one. That's my first time really saying it out of my mouth. Like, that was big.
You may have typed it, but this is real life.
But it just became really real.
Yes, indeed. And this will be viewed by 5,000 people. So.
Yes.
So after working with so many businesses, would you say the 3 reasons businesses don't succeed?
People.
Process. Profit. Okay, we're going back to the 3 P's.
I don't care what you do. If you don't shore them up, you will fail.
Okay.
It's not necessarily sequence of action matters, right? Sequence of action. What does that mean? And what order do you do things? Okay. Right? Yeah. That matters, but that's semantics. What do I mean? That's trivial. Yeah. So what matters is that you've got good people and real processes. Even if you have one process, we come in, we open the door, unlock it, the key goes here, we turn the phone on, we do this.
Right.
Write it down. That starts the habit. Absolutely. You might think it's super insignificant. Write the process down. Everything,
even what time do we turn the coffee maker on? What time do we cut these clothes sign off, forward the phone?
Do you know why you do that?
So they duplicate it, right?
Not only that, but you can manage your money because you can predict your energy bill. So, I mean, you can go all the way to the bottom line with every single process that you,
right.
like, seriously, you can go there. I'm just trying to make it plain. Like, I don't want you guys, the same way you run. Okay. The way you run your house is typically the way you run your business. So I'm with Sister Girl on you. So grabs air.
Short on y'all.
So when you think about how you manage your household finances, how you manage your household business, the people, the communication plan that you have in your home.
Gotcha.
Right?
Communication plans at home. I don't think anybody has that.
You do. You just it's undocumented and probably unrealistic. But
it's in my files.
But that is sometimes it's very indicative of what your acumen is. Like how you manage your personal is typically how you manage your business.
Gotcha. Okay. So the 3 reasons businesses don't succeed is people, profit, and
people, process, and profitability.
Profitability. So let's talk about what are some things that you can delegate to the certain people that you need to make sure that your business thrives, but how do you put a process in place to train them on handling that delegation?
Absolutely. So here's the deal. So remember, you're the first leader, right? This is the power of one. You need to first create your own job description.
Okay.
And sometimes it's everything and write it all down. The way that you write it all, the reason why you write all of what you do down, you go to the bank, you do this, you take care of your mileage, all of that, whatever it is you do, you pay yourself, however you handle it. You call a customer, you send an email, all that. Write everything you do down. And then on another sheet, start looking at what's on your list and start to really literally moving it to another list. Those are the things that can be done by someone else that you don't need to guide, that are beneath your pay grade. Remember, you make $150 an hour as a CEO. As a CEO, it is not in your best interest to work on your calendar and make calendar entries. Scan receipts, scan business cards, develop your email list. It's not in your best interest to do that. You need it because it helps to generate revenue, but you don't need to do it. And I think that's the most important thing. First, make the big, messy list. And then start highlighting those things that can move over to an administrator. And I'm going to tell you the unique thing. When you hire an admin as a small business, I'm not looking for a receptionist style admin. I wanted an administrative coordinator.
Okay.
That is code name for everything else, right? What I do, and then that's everything else. That's because I needed someone that had some of that same energy, high level thinker, that could really help me. Self-motivated.
Gotcha.
Now, she had to grow into that role because remember, I was just starting out too. And I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know how that was going to work. I've had admins in the past, but they were there to do a certain job inside the company. Now it's me and my emotions are tied to it.
You don't get emotional as a business owner.
Yes. Okay. Try me. No, I'm saying. No, you do. And you have to be mindful of that. And so take your emotions out, take the things that you're like biggest thing, nobody can do this like me as the business owner.
That's the problem now.
That's huge.
That's a huge problem.
That's why you need to write it down then. So somebody else can try. You had to figure it out too. And we start to miss that and try to give someone else or a ding against their ability to do something because it's not like what you would do. So training, I'm going to answer your question. That was your real question. I'm fired up. So the question I'm answering is this. How did I get this person there? How did I get my admin up to par, right? How did I get my admin to a place where they could support me? It was incremental training. And sometimes it's meeting every day and walking through everything. And it's painful at first as a business owner because you're like, I got 75 more things exploding right now. But if you do not do it, you will pay the price in 30 days.
Or you might pay it in unemployment.
You can play with it if you want to, because they're not going to want to be with you or work with you if they don't feel like you value them. You hired them to do a task.
Got a great question. Thank you, Ms. Barbara Polk. What about a virtual assistant?
Yes. I say yes to that. If your list aligns, that's a great way to start slow. So what are the things you're going to give to that virtual assistant? Have a job description. No more hiring on the fly. No more, I just got to get somebody to help me take care of these 7 things. My little cousin can do it. Like, okay, look, okay. This is business, guys. Let's be real. Even if your cousin can do it, make it formal. Give your cousin a job description. Put them on payroll. Like, do what you need to do to really get the best out of your business. Don't play with it.
Stop making it. What is it? A tent pop up?
Stop popping a tent.
Popping a tent.
Midwesterners, stand up.
Indeed. Okay, so let's talk about that mentality though.
Yeah.
So I know no one can do it better than me, but I know I need to give it to somebody else. But I'm just not ready. I can't see myself giving someone these tasks.
Yeah.
How does a business owner overcome that mindset?
Well, Tristen, I think hopefully they have some really good friends around them, but you can keep hitting the wall.
Yeah, okay.
So someone needs to just ask, how many times do you want to hit this wall? And then you need to also look at how far out have you planned your earnings, right? So if you want to make some money, right? Have you really identified what kind of money you want to make this year? So let's just go here.
Yeah.
And how do I get past the mindset? This hopefully will be a breakthrough for everyone. No one can do it better than me. I don't want to delegate. Here's the deal.
Set us free.
Yes, seriously. Write down on a sheet of paper how much money you want to make this year. And then associated with that list, what you need to do to generate that revenue. I'm talking about sales or client interface transactions that generate that revenue.
Okay.
Write all that down. And then look at how many transactions it's going to take to get there.
Okay.
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 If you have a process, look at your process and figure out how many touch points that is required per transaction.
Okay. Okay.
You get me? You tracking?
I'm tracking.
Now, look in the mirror and say, listen, self, do you really have time, capacity, or energy to be able to touch the customer this many times and generate that kind of money?
Ooh, that's deep.
Like, that's just baseline.
Yeah, that's just simple.
If you were in a session with me, I would have you draw a quadrant, identify the 4 quarters of the year, and we'd write your number in the center. This is what I do. And I'd have you do that. And then I'd have you list the dollar amount per quarter you need to generate. We then break that down for 90 days, which is a quarter, 3 months, 12 weeks. We break that down.
Right.
And we say, okay, what is required of me in this time frame? Now, inside of that time frame, that quarter, that 12-week period, are daily tasks, right? You got life happening. Yeah. You've got regular things client service. Yeah. Things that come up. You miss an hour because your car's in the shop, things like that, right? You got all that in there. You still want to generate this money. I have you do that in every quadrant of the year. And then that helps you identify what kind of activity you need to do. That's your first reality check. Okay. And then you start to really look, okay, well, if you put in there, you want to make 2.7 million this year for all my high achievers.
Yes, indeed.
You can make it, but what is it going to take from you to do it? That we go back to sacrifice. If you have a process, you might be able to squeeze
processes to the process.
It all goes together. We can skate the system if you want to, but I'm going to tell you now, all you're doing is delaying your success.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that leads us into a good segue. Tell us about your task list. Equals a cash list.
Yes. So your task list, I'm going to change the name to a cash list. So here's the deal. So if I have a task list, I'm the CEO, I'm the executive, right?
Right.
I have a list of things that I need to do. Right. When I look at the list, I need to identify, right, the things that I specifically have to do, the things that I can delegate that are still my responsibility, but someone else is capable of doing. That could be my administrator, Kayla. That could be a vendor or someone else, right? Sales rep, something like that. And then I say, okay, now once I look at that list and I start to prioritize my tasks should be the highest revenue generating or producing tasks.
Absolutely.
And because I have a plan and I know what kind of energy is required out of me this quarter to make the number that I want to make for the year.
Right.
Are y'all tracking?
For the whole year.
For the whole year. This quarter is critical to the year. I'm in February. This is the second month of the first quarter. What I did in January impacts my whole year. 2019.
Gotcha. It all pieces together.
It all goes together. So then I look at that and I say, okay, now of these tasks, which one is going to generate the greatest volume or the greatest revenue?
Gotcha.
So we just had a conversation. If it's finishing the certification track,
yes,
and getting those things down, well, that requires meetings and all kinds of other things, pulling documents together, working with people to make sure you've got your things together. That's something that I need to do as the business owner because I need to know that I've submitted the right information to the right person and it's done.
Not waste time going back and forth.
Yes, because now it's done. So that's a revenue generating task that I need to do. If it's calling to set up 7 appointments for based on a client event we just had, and we've got referrals, no, I don't need to do that because I'm going to see them when they come in. But my administrator can handle them with TKC Care and deliver an excellence. And I'm going to mess up the calendar system anyway. So we just I'll mess it up every time. Let her do it. And then they come into the office, and now they have a layer of care around them. They know if they need to make an adjustment to their appointment, they can call her. They're not calling me to change their appointment time. So I say that to say that's how I start to squeeze the cash out of my list. So I'm doing things that generate revenue. Having certifications for the Kyra company is the difference between being a thousandaire and a millionaire.
Right. Absolutely.
So when you start thinking about what you really want to do, it's a little long term. Your tasks as a leader, as a CEO, should be more strategic.
Absolutely.
Less tactical, more strategic. So that's how I start to squeeze the cash out of my list. Priorities for sure. And then if you find yourself with things on your list repeatedly that just are below your pay grade, or that it's not the best use of your time, you need to not just delegate them, because you still own them when you delegate them. You need to actually allocate them to someone else to do.
You just let someone borrow it.
Yeah. You if it goes wrong, there's still eggs on your face. So you want them allocated now. Create an addendum to a job description, or send an email saying, I need you to do these tasks. Can you tell me when you'd have these done? What's your plan? Gotcha. Now you're holding someone else accountable to things that were on your list that don't need to be on your list, that need to be allocated.
Accountability. Have you ever heard of it, baby?
It's a gangster move right there. Being accountable and having someone to be accountable to you. Now that requires you to be a manager of time and a manager of tasks. But if you create the system in your business, that's the key, you guys. The process for really managing the day-to-day operations, that's going to get you there.
Speaking of the processes, I was doing some research, and they say there's 5 core processes for a business. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 1, sales and marketing. 2, accounting and technology. 3, quality and product service and delivery. 4, management, HR and finance. And 5, product development. Would you agree with all those 5?
I agree.
You agree?
I agree. I think those are all vital to running your business. And as you're maturing, really thinking about those more significantly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So someone out there is still developing or growing, maybe year 4.
Yeah.
What would you say out of those 5, the top 3 they need to focus on?
Well, I would say, okay, I'm going to look at your list.
Okay, here you go.
So I would say the top 3 you need to look at. Number 1 is going to be management, HR, and finance. You need to make sure your core, your engine is well run.
Okay.
The second thing I would say is your sales and marketing strategy. Because if your internal system is great, if your internal system is great, I was about to go somewhere just that fast. If your internal system runs well, then when sales are generated, then they come back into the business and they're managed well. So you want to make sure your sales and marketing team understands how to sell your product and that you internally know how to service it. So you start thinking about those 2 different independently, right?
Okay.
And then I think, let me see what the third one would be.
I think I know where you're going.
You do?
5.
Because we're talking about innovation now.
Yeah.
So if you must be a student of the Kyra company, Tristen.
I might have been in the program.
Dabbled, talking to. So when you think about management, finance, and HR, that's tier 1. Then you start thinking about sales and marketing. You're generating more revenue. You're in growth mode, right? That product development space is where you start to create the innovations that grow your business. And so that's how you keep sales coming, right? You keep the freshness of the sale. You're staying current with the times. You're managing kind of the market, the industry, and how it's speaking to your client base or your customer base, because it has a temperament. And that keeps you in a space of constantly developing new tools, new resources, new opportunities, and really thinking about how you really want to innovate your business for the future, for the long haul. That's big.
Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to agree with her. I mean, we all have different perspectives. My top 3 would have been starting with product development, because you got to have something to sell, right? You got to have something to offer and provide. Number 2 would have been sales and marketing. So now that you got the item or the service, you got to get it out there to market and help someone pay you your invoice for it. Okay. And then my third one would have been quality and product service delivery. So we got to make sure we got the product, we can sell it, and then when we're delivering at a high level so that we don't have returns. So those would have been my top 3. And then till we can build or get the revenue to get everything else right, outsource the accounting and the HR and things like that, and then get that in-house and build those core processes up. So that's just But I'm a sales and marketing guy.
And I'm an HR head. So we get our priorities. Our priorities are aligned with what we do.
Indeed.
That's
so
good.
That's why it's always good to have two different perspectives.
Yeah.
No one's wrong, but it's just another way to look at things and how to develop your business. So we're coming to the close of this wonderful episode. Time is flying.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I feel like we covered everything though.
We covered a lot.
Yes, indeed.
We covered a lot.
What are some jewels you want to drop on the audience?
Well, first of all, I want to give you a book recommendation.
Okay.
And the book recommendation is The 12-Week Year.
Okay.
And that's by Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. And the 12-week year breaks down the model I talked about earlier, breaking your year down into quadrants or 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that really helps you centralize your focus. So you're not thinking about, in corporate America, we would think about what were our results for the year.
Right.
We look at what's our projection for 19, then how did we do in 19? We look at that in 2020.
Right.
We don't want to look then. We want to look at how are we doing right now based on our primary goal, which is the number I said I'd write in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And what have I done in this 12 weeks to maximize my time and my earnings potential?
Okay.
And here's a jewel, instead of waiting to December 31st to meet your goal, make it a little bit more aggressive.
Interesting.
And consider 12 weeks, 1 year.
Aha.
And the book will break that down.
Okay.
So now you have 4 years inside of your 1 year to work. Okay. So what does that mean? If I'm in sales and my sales goal is, $100,000, right?
Right.
Well, if I can make $100,000 in 12 weeks,
right,
close out my first year, which is Q1, I'm going to kill it all year. I can sleep if I want to after that.
Interesting. That's another perspective.
You compress your time. And so, $100,000 is a pretty significant, amount for the type of activity you have to do, but create a realistic goal, but you can compress your time. I have real estate agents that a broker actually, in her, when we had our first meeting, she was like, okay, I want to make 70,000 for the year. So I quickly looked at her and I was like, side eye, I don't understand. And I was like, you can do that in a month. What are we doing? And so what we started to do was look at it differently. What happens as an entrepreneur, especially solopreneurs, we think about what we can do with our hands. But if you put a strategy on the table and you need to close, let's just say 12 properties, right? Well, if you have an admin, how much of this transaction can they do? If you have a coordinator, transaction coordinator, how much of the transaction can they do? Gotcha. You go sell. You don't do the open house.
That's the delegate to elevate.
Compress your timeline, but you have to have a process in place to do it. But that book has been really vital, and I train it within organizations. I use it. I apply it. I recommend it because it is a game changer when you are an entrepreneur and you need the capital of time.
The capital of time.
Yeah, capital.
Time is money.
Seriously.
Time is money.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's great. Anything else going on with the Kyra company?
Oh, of course. So you guys, every fourth Thursday, we have the Smart CEO. You don't want to miss the Smart CEO breakfast.
It's early.
It is for the elite. It's breakfast with the elite. It is at 7:30 a.m. the fourth Thursday of every month. And we run till about 9 a.m. Our goal is to get you in and out before your first meeting for the day. So we're thinking about your non-revenue generating time when we're meeting with you. We're there to educate you, introduce you to individuals in the industry that can support your business and also offer you a solution when it comes to building the infrastructure of your business through business development with the Kyra company. Awesome. So that is our intimate space that we get to go into with the community of learners. And it's really an educational space.
I've heard nothing but good things about it. Tristen doesn't do anything at 7:30 a.m. But you all are more than welcome to go.
You know what?
I encourage you to try it.
And we use small businesses to make that go. So we have a small business chef. We have a small chef Yo, Nooksy's Fine Catering.
Nice.
She is our resident caterer. And we have partnered with another small business to actually host our venue. So, you guys, we are the ecosystem of entrepreneurship is like piping through our veins. So that's what we do.
All ships rise. All ships rise.
I got that from Tristen.
So if you all are looking to find more information about Kyra Hardwick. You can go to thekyracompany.com. She's a business developer, not a business coach. So I'll let her give you the distinction when you make a call with her.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. So if you want to take one takeaway from this, get your task list to equal your cash list.
Yes.
So make sure you're writing those things down that generate the most revenue for you. We call them key performance indicators as well.
Your KPIs.
Your KPIs. So make sure you know what's making you money. If it's not making you money, delegate it to someone else, and that's how you elevate. So it all ties together. Now I want to take this time to thank our show sponsors. So we have an episode sponsor every episode. This one is, once again, Designs by Shamir. If you like the beautiful graphics you're seeing, the logos, all the things that are Tristen Sutton brand, check out Shamir at her website, Designs by Shamir. And we have a new episode sponsor, Miss Chandra Webb with Dingy Eyewear. She sponsored this episode in these sunglasses.
Nice.
Give me a thumbs up if you like them. You know, I got some aviator thunder shades, but you can go to her website at dingyeyewear.com. Might do the rest of the show in these sunglasses. And also we have Grow Fleet Podcast Studios, where they allow us to do this wonderful show for you all. And last but not least, you got my product. If you want to learn about Facebook ads and how to use them, I have a free webinar. You can go to that link, bit.ly/FBKadswebinar.com. And so it's really just a little 45-minute presentation. I'll talk to you about why Facebook ads are very powerful for your business for 3 reasons. You know, we like threes around here, keep it simple. But check that out. Make sure you do that. And be sure to support our guest, Miss Kyra Hardwick. She's done some great things with the Sutton brand, Tristen and CC. So we've always glad to have her on and support. So
thank you.
We will see you all. Actually, you know what? Our next episode will be the end of February.
Wow.
We're having a little Sutton sabbatical in February. So we will see y'all in 3 weeks. But if you have any questions, feel free to inbox us, let us know. But thank you all for being on the show today and watching and commenting. Y'all